Look forward, we wanted to just look back and see what we had done, and Evan also mentioned that during today we will go back and look at our goals and what we have achieved since that day. We did organize that 4 years ago. It's held right here in Tucson at the main library. One of our main reasons for getting together was because I wasn't really sure what low impact development actually meant. And I did go to the EPA website every day since then, and I kind of refer to their definition of what it means. It's a design concept that captures stormwater as a resource. But then we start talking about capturing runoff. We have to think about the green infrastructure necessary to collect and store the runoff. What's the water quality that we need to have a beneficial use? Or how much is this costing us? What benefits are our target benefits? Such as enhancing vegetation to reduce stress in the environment. When we get into all those discussions, we have to bring in a lot of other expertise besides flood control, runoff people. On that day, we came in and talked about what is LID, and we just talked to a bunch of different people who were writing policy and engaged them in discussions, tried to find out what they thought the next important steps were for us to do. We had about 50 people who attended. We doubled that today, so thank you for coming. We're very excited about that. At that time, we mostly had representatives from Maricopa County and Pima County area. We brought some people from the south, and one of our speakers came in from Louisville, Kentucky, to give us a little bit of a different perspective. We had a day very much like we are going to have today, where we will have presentations in the morning, although those presentations were much more introductory because we were just kind of collaborating for the first time. And then we also did our feedback sessions in the afternoon. We documented every single thing that people said, all of the feedback. We organized it, and hopefully if you're interested in all of the comments and suggestions people had at that time, you'll visit that website because our PowerPoints will be posted after this workshop. The main 5 takeaway goals that we called out of every comment that people made were these 5 important goals, and I hope you'll refer back to them through the day and also later, because we have referred to them over the years to be sure that our efforts were always targeted toward the goals that the community requested. And how were we going to accomplish those goals? We needed to develop a group of people and a leader to take us forward. Evan agreed to be our guide into the future, and he organized our first working group meeting just a few weeks after our LID workshop, and we decided to call it Creatively LID Working Group, and Evan's kept us on a straight path to achieve our goals. Evan?
So I want to talk a little bit about what we've done over the last 4 years in the LID working group. So Ann mentioned the March 2011 workshop. Out of that, we formed an ad hoc group of basically anyone who said, I'm interested in low impact development and interested in furthering the goals of low impact development. And we brought together, well, what should we do first? I mean, there are quite a few objectives that the group identified and said needed to be done, and we didn't know exactly how to proceed with them. So we got this smaller group, the Low Impact Development Working Group, together. And the 2 things that bubbled to the top is what we really need to focus on was guidance and case studies, good examples. So I want to talk to you a little bit about how we went along that path. Now, first of all, this has been a joint effort. We've had contributions all across the community. You can see several different departments in Pima County and the city of Tucson have been involved in this process at one time or another. PAG has played a big part, town of Marana, Oro Valley. We've had great help from our professionals, Stantec, Tetra Tech, and Wheat Design have contributed to this effort. A lot of work from the city of Tucson, and then Watershed Management Group, I think we've been very fortunate that they've been willing to participate in this process because they've got a lot of practical hands-on experience. And you were the middleweight champion in the Arizona Gives a couple days ago and came home with an extra $15,000. Congratulations, guys. So let's talk about what we've actually done over the last 4 years. Now, there was a PAG resolution supporting GI-LID in 2012, and this was really the vision of Mead-Meyer, and I didn't understand the importance of it at the time, but essentially what that was a description of all the ways that GI and LID would be important in the community and why we should support it. And then it went to the PAG Regional Council, which is has representatives of all the jurisdictions across Pima County, and they supported it. So that was really a critical first step. Then we had been working with the City of Tucson, Pima County and City of Tucson, Flood Control and City of Tucson, been working on some guidance related to neighborhood water harvesting. And this was a directive initially out of the City County Water Study. But in 2013, we were included in the Technical Assistance Program of the EPA, which helped fund additional work through their technical partners, Tetra Tech. And so one of the things that we were able to build on at that point, we had a lot of partners, but we were able to point back to, hey, we have a resolution from the Regional Council of all the entities saying that GI-LID is supported in our community. And I think that was a critical component of being able to get into the Technical Assistance Program. Case studies. Now this was very early identified as something we needed. And everybody said you got to have case studies, and people would say, oh, I saw this neat thing over on 22nd Street, and you should go out and you should do a case study. And you know, the thing is, you can't just do that. You have to get all the background information. What were the drivers? What was the design? What was the cost? And we were really fortunate that Sandy Bulldog came on board at Flood Control. She's a landscape architect, and she really pushed that forward. So we have a case studies catalog that came out in June 2014, and we've been very fortunate that we have that, and it was a critical first need identified in the first workshop. Cost benefit study. We were the first community in the country to do what was sort of a triple bottom line cost benefit study using the Envision rating system. And the leaders on this were PAG, the City of Tucson, and Flood Control District. And you'll hear more about that this morning. But I'm very proud of that. Mead, Meyer, and John Weiss presented at Harvard about a month ago, and there was a lot of interest. You know, how do you do that? It's a critical question, always comes up. And then finally, we've completed the Green Infrastructure LID manual after many years and a lot of work from a lot of people. And Lynn Orchard's going to talk about that later today. So this morning we're going to talk about these things. The afternoon we're going to talk about a lot of the other efforts across the community. And then I want to get back to, this is a long list of stuff that came out of the 2011 workshop saying all that we needed to do. And I'm very proud of what we accomplished, but if you look back, I know you can't read that, and that's kind of the point. There's a lot of stuff there. But we've sort of done these things. We've done 1A. We've sort of looked at what is a LID GI vision for the Southwest. I think Lynn got contacted recently by another community, said, just give us your Word file and we'll just change it to our jurisdiction because this is so good. Mm-hmm. So, I mean, I think that we have moved this forward. We've done some breaking down of silos. I mean, those still continue to occur. We still have, you need to do this and we need to do that. But I think the LID working group has brought a lot of different organizations together, and we're talking, and we've been fortunate today. We've got members of the Stormwater Management Working Group, the Rainwater Stormwater Professional Network at the U of A. And we've done some research effectiveness. We've gotten some case studies and we've pursued some grants. We've got some money, so these are things that we said we've done, we've been able to do. I've been very pleased with the cost effectiveness. A lot of times this opens up more questions than it answers, but we're moving that discussion forward, so I'm very proud of that. And then I think there's been a lot of discussion of the regulatory mechanisms. Ann's been involved in the design of the first flush retention requirements and the drainage manual. So the point is that we have a lot that we identified, and we've broken off a chunk of this and we've pursued it, and I'm very proud of that, but there's so much more to do. So you guys here in the afternoon will have to go back to that long list and help us refine that, get us new direction for the future.